guys, welcome back to the channel. So I had this idea in my head of creating an extended piece for this table saw, because when you run longer piece, it keeps falling, and you need to have a separate table and all this stuff. But I wanted something that's not gonna take up too much space, and I could actually use it over and over again. So I came up with the idea of creating this extended wing or overfall, or I don't know what it's called, but it's connected to a collapsible shelf hinge brackets. So I'm going to show you guys how I put this together. So stay tuned, and let me know what you think about this. Let me know if you actually like it, if it's the worst idea ever, or it's something you guys want to actually do to your own saw. So this is actually an attachment to my Delta table saw that you guys saw the review on, and it's perfect because if I want to collapse it, that's it, and it's perfect. So stay tuned. I'm going to show you guys how it's done. Alright guys, so I'm going to show you guys how to build this the shelf, or what do you call it, overflow, or whatever it's called. So the first thing you need a cut of the wood you're using, because you need that thickness to basically make your measurements true to what it needs to be. Another piece you need a piece on top. Something, I made a jig, so this is my jig, so you're free to do however you like it. Basically how this is going to sit is going to sit like this, flush with this. And what you need is your square to put it on here to see if it's actually square and sitting flat. So, as you can see, this is pretty flat. It's sitting right on there because you are following the flow of the bottom of this wood to all the way over here. So this is holding this piece in. Now, you're gonna see this is heavy. So what I did was I put a 15-pound weight over this, and it keeps it right there where I need it. But let me go over the materials you're gonna need for this build. So besides the jig you're gonna build, you will need a square. You will need a measuring device. It could be a ruler, tape measure, whatnot, and you're gonna need your collapsing shelf material, which is this. Right, so this is the collapsing one. This is a 16-inch. Now I will put a link in the description for the materials I used, so you can easily buy it at your own discretion. The only thing that I can't include, but I'll be happy to help anybody out that if they want the piece, I 3D printed these spacers that will go right here, which I will show you exactly how they work. Now, I 3D printed these spacers. You guys can make them out of wood if you like to, but if you guys want these 3D printed material, I could definitely print them for you for a small fee. That's up to you guys. You can leave a comment, or go to my website, or send me an email, and I'll be happy to help you guys out. But before anything, let's get started. Let's see how I did this, and I'm going to show you guys step by step. And this is basically prior to the installation, so I haven't made any holes. I'm going to do this with you guys. As promised in my previous videos, I'm doing this on my own, and it will be the first step. So I'm not going to do cut edit. So if I make a mistake, you guys will learn from my mistakes. So stay tuned. Let me get this set up, and I will show you guys exactly how I'm going to do this. Alright guys, we're going to do a little measuring here so you guys get an idea. I believe this setup is almost the same as the rigid as well. The rigid table, so I don't have the model number, but I will put it in the description. So this has a thick tube right here. So measure this out, and I believe this is 64 millimeters, and in inches is 2.5 inches thick, right? And then you want to measure the distance from here to here, right? You want to know what the distance is. So you could do a couple of things here. Let me remove this for a second. You could put your square here, and you can measure the distance in between these two squares, between the square, like and the thickness. You don't want to guess, but I believe it was 2.5 inches as well. Excuse me, 2 inches. So the distance between that, it's about 2 inches. So I don't know if you guys can see this. It's upside down. 2 inches, right? So total of 4.5 inches. Now, this does not to be 4.5 inches. So this is between this part right here and here. It's a little bit less than 2 inches. It's about 1.8 inches, right? Now you ask why that is, because there's an indentation in this right here that I have to account for. So you guys' brackets might be a little bit different. So so that's how you want to measure the distance between here and here, because you want the wood to sit here at this level. You don't want the wood to sit on top of this, because this rail is for your rip fence. So this is the fence guide right here that's going to float back and forth, and you want a little distance between here. So you want the wood to actually sit a little bit further out, because the fence has a little hook right here that's going to slide in and out. So you don't want to interfere with that hook, with that guide when it's going back and forth. So you want to have a little gap between here and the main board that you're going to put on. But that, it's easily done. So once the shelf system is in, you could realize once you put it in, you mark everything up, and you could actually maneuver. You could put the board on. I'll show you how it's done actually, so it'll be easier to explain. But first, we need to mark the spots where we want the holes, right? So this is going to be another tough part. So what I did was, I put this here, right? This is flush. For the first initial setup, it's okay to be flush, because this is not where the this is not where the wood's going to be sitting. The board is going to be sitting a little bit further out. However, this is going to sit here, and I want my bracket to be as close to this as possible. The further you make this out, the more unstable it becomes. So the shorter it is, the better. So what I did was, I opened up the bracket, I placed it here, and what I did was I put a spacer in between the bracket and its final position, right? That's what I did. And then I got my long screw, so now I need to mark it. So, excuse me, before I get to that, what I did was I put it in here, I mark it with a pencil, and then I screwed this to the board. That gives me the correct distance between the spacer and this while it's mounted to this. So let me show you what it looks like. Alright guys, so now this is mounted to the board. And this is basically, obviously it's a temporary mount. So I'm going to take one of my spacers. I'm going to align it with one of the holes on the bottom, like so. I'm going to hold it in place. Now I'm going to run my 4.5-inch screw through the hole, through the spacer, and just hardly push it through And as you can see, I have a painter's tape here. And what that does, that puts a little mark, a circle mark. Basically, I kind of center punch this thing. And basically, that's going to be where I'm going to place the hole. So I have a painter's tape on this side. I also have a painter's tape on this side. I'm going to do the exact same thing. So now you're asking me, how did you find the center of this thing? To be honest with you, I did it by eyesight. I kind of, put 2 boards here, measured it. It's a little bit more, it's 2.5 inches, right? So like, you're gonna look at 1 3/4 on, not a 1 3/4, I'm sorry, 1 1/4 from each side, but that's a little bit difficult. So I did it through eyesight. I made sure this was kind of straight with the lines, and I just went for it. It may or may not be dead center, but I leave that to you professionals out there who will do this a lot more professionally than I will. I'm mainly looking for functionality, and the functionality will actually, from the way I'm looking at it, it's going to be working just fine. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side, basically eyeballing it. I know it's not professional, it's not what is recommended, but I do with what I have, and it seems to be working. Some of my methods are very unorthodox, but they work. They honestly work. So, and I generally don't have that much patience. So I already marked this side. I'm gonna mark this side now. And one more thing, this spacer does not fit up here for the top screw. So I'm just gonna have it a little bit lower, and the screw is just gonna run on over it, which is not a big deal. So let me mark the other side, then we're gonna actually put the holes in here, and we're gonna install the first bracket, and let's see how that works. Alright guys, so I put in the first hole, and then I decided to be a little bit more professional and use my square to actually find the center of the hole and basically mark the line to make sure everything lines up, right? I want to make sure everything is going to be sitting straight on this thing. So I wasn't really that much off, a little off, but not much off. Now you want to go, if you want to go one step further to see how far these holes are from one another, they're 2 inches. They're just about 2 inches, 2 and an eighth. 2 and an eighth from the center. That's how far apart they are. So if I measure this up, yes, so they are about 2 and an eighth. So now we have this. We're gonna mark the center right there. Then we're gonna mark the center right there. I do not have my starter tool, so I'm just gonna use a screw and do that. That should give me enough starting point to get my drill started. So, and you guys saw I started with the 1/4 inch drill. This is a 1/4 inch screw, so I will need 6 of these, but it starts out with the 1/4 inch, then it gets thicker, so I will need a 5/8 after that. But let's get these holes punched. All right, 3 holes punched. Now I'm gonna install the first bracket. Let's see what it looks like. If I like the way it sits, we'll punch the other one out. All right, so this seems to be straight, and what happened was the third hole is not lining up with this one. So that's easy to fix. We'll just punch another hole, I guess, so it's not a big deal. We'll just line this up with the hole, like so. And just run my drill bit through it, and that will leave the mark that I need for the third one. Make this a little bit longer. There we go. So actually, let me see, the hole did line up because I was going through it. This other side, it's a little bit higher, so I need to like kind of, you know, make it a little bit, you know, lower on this side, and it should go through. So I'm going to take this off again, make that hole, and come back. Look at that, it's flat. So after a little tinkling, I did make the holes a little bit larger to give it like a little bit adjustability, so I could, you know, push all the screws in, but it doesn't mess with the leveling of the shelf. But as you can see right here, it's perfectly flat, and this is exactly what we're going to look for. So I'm going to do the other side. I forgot to take the painter's tape off, so I'm going to try to peel that off without taking this off again. But it seems to be working, guys. Let me do the other side, then I'll be back and show you guys when I put the top on and install the top. Alright guys, so the measurement for this, I don't remember, actually, alright, the measurement for this is 30.5 by 48. So that's the size I went with. When I drop it down, it's not going to be all the way to the floor, so you know I could still move it around. But it seems to be the good size I'm looking for as far as like the surface area goes. I'm going to screw this in. As you can see right here, I put little spacers from here and the other end. So this leaves a little gap right here. So when I want to move the fence, I can move it back and forth and just leave it there. So let me screw this in, and we'll go from there. Hopefully it works. Hopefully this is exactly how it's supposed to be mounted. So let me get some thick screws, get this thing screwed in. Hopefully it doesn't fall on my head. There you have it, folks. This is how you build the this shelving piece. So if you have any questions, please leave it in the comments below. Let me know if you like the design, if I should make any changes to it, and I will do an updated video on this, just down the line, see how it's holding up. But for now, it seems pretty sturdy. It functions just the way it's supposed to function. So it's of course, if you put anything heavy, it's gonna kind of, my garage is not that level, so excuse the wobbling. That has nothing to do with this. But if you have any questions or any concerns if this is going to be good enough, yeah. And another thing I was going to mention, I'm not going to cut grooves in here for the sled line, because I'm not going to run long pieces with the sled. So there's no point of me doing that. I think a lot of people that do it, that have a fixed table, but hey, if I'm using the sled, I don't need this up. Anyways, leave your comments down below, hit like, and please subscribe to the channel so I could bring more of my adventures to you guys. Take care.